Welcome to What's the Score, a series solely dedicated to the support of Central Florida's small business and entrepreneurs. Donated as a community service by AM 660 The Answer and Salem Communications. Now, here's Christopher Hart and Rich Jaeckle.
Hello again, and welcome to What's the Score, the show designed to help you come up with that winning combination for your business. And we are here today once again. I am Christopher Hart of the American Adversaries Radio Show, along with Rich Jaeckle of Score Orlando. Rich, how are you doing today?
It's a pleasure, the heart of Christopher.
Thanks so much. And, of course, folks, if you haven't ever heard the show before, you don't know that Score is a free mentorship program that's available to any entrepreneur out there, whether you're already in business or just getting started out or just got the kernel of an idea. Score is the place that you want.
I like that, the kernel of an idea.
You've
been eating corn or something?
I worked all week long on that. The kernel of an idea. Score is the place for you because they can help you get your business plan together, help you get the legal things that you need to go get through in order. Basically, they can help you from A to Z, and they do it for free as a mentorship program. They do have seminars that are available to you. Some of those are free. Some of them have a small charge. But it really is the best way for someone, in particular, if you've never been in business before, this is the organization you want to align yourself with. They've got a lot of great things that they offer. The mentorship program, once again, is free. And best of all, here in Orlando, they have a walk-in office. It's over at the Entrepreneur Center, National Entrepreneur Center, I should say, at the Fashion Square Mall, located between Sears and Penny's. The phone number there for Score is 407-420-4844. And, of course, you can always find out more about all the things that they have to offer here in Orlando at their website, scoreorlando.org. And today we have a repeat performer. We got some questions and comments about a particular show that we did. And so, Rich, you've brought back another ringer for us.
I certainly did. But before we get into that, I've got a question for you guys. Well, right. For you, since I didn't introduce him yet. So
he's not here yet.
Right. Why is it called tourist season if we can't shoot at him?
Oh, well, some people do shoot, fingers at them, but
sorry, all you tourists out there, you won't be listening to us anyway.
Send all those comments to Rich Jaeckle.
That's right.
At scoreorlando.org.
Thank you for your support. All right, so we do now. There's 3 ways to get into business. Do you know what they are? You know what they are.
3 ways
to get into business.
You buy a business, you start a business, or you franchise a business.
Hey, very good. And we've got the third part of that equation here today.
Yeah.
Mr. Tim Loftin from FranNet. And Tim?
Good afternoon, Rich. Good afternoon, Chris. Good to be here. This is the second time. I guess I'm a 2-timer.
Yeah, welcome back to the show.
You cheating son of a...
No.
2-timing.
They bring a lot of country songs about you.
Yeah, right. Three times I would be out, right?
Yep.
Tim Loftin is an expert in franchising, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth about it today with Tim. He's a supporter of Score. You'll oftentimes find him over at Score, and certainly if you think a franchise is for you, or you're just wondering if perhaps a franchise is for you, Tim is the guy you do need to be talking to. FranNet.com, that's FRANNET, FranNet.com. That's his organization. Give us the quick spiel on what FranNet is, Tim.
Well, FranNet is an international franchise consulting firm, and we are located all over the U.S., Canada. We're now in Germany and expanding into the UK. We have about 100 consultants across the U.S. I happen to handle the Central Florida area, including Orlando, the Villages, over to Lakeland, and Tampa Bay. So I work with clients all throughout that area. And my role as a consultant is to work with clients that are interested in starting a new franchise business.
And when you say starting a new franchise business, you mean buying a franchise of an organization that's already existing, or starting their own franchised business, so to speak, say a pizza chain or something?
Well, generally we are working with individuals that want to start a new business location, and they pick a franchise that already exists.
Okay.
Now, there are individuals that have a business and they want to franchise it. That's not our specialty, but we could connect someone with national players that to do exactly that. They help them franchise their business.
Okay.
Really, because we get a lot of questions about that.
Yeah,
I
I'll be
was
glad
going to say,
there's two.
you need to pull that microphone closer to you.
There are
Rich.
two, yeah, okay.
Don't forget we're on radio here.
We are. God, I looked for another guest today, and it was my friend from SCORE, Dan Knapp, and he's a magician. And I said, well, why don't you come on the radio and do your magic tricks?
Yeah, that'd be great stuff.
Very impressive.
Oh, boy, I'd have a really good audience. Yeah, anyway.
I was going to say that was one of the questions that I had gotten after the last time you were on the show is, did you only do the one or the other? So your main focus is getting people hooked up with a franchise organization that already exists, whether it's a restaurant or a cleaning service or whatever. But you can help people who they already have a business that they want to franchise that business. You can hook them up with the right people.
I can. As I indicated, we specialize in taking a client, whether it's an individual, a couple, or an investor. They go through our process, and we match them to the ideal franchise for their personal and lifestyle goals. So every individual we sit with, they're going to have a different assessment. They have different behaviors, different needs, different goals. So we match them to the right franchises for their individual situation.
How many franchises do you have in your pocket? I mean, I come in there and I say, okay, I need to go to a franchise. How many do you have out there?
Well, we deal with over 150. But there are about 3,000 different franchise businesses in the U.S.
Wow.
in 80 different industries. So,
are all of them legal?
Well, I don't know about that. The ones that we deal with are all very legal.
Okay.
We actually, our corporate office does a due diligence process on every franchise that we work with. They vet them. They make sure they're a genuine good business. They're financially sound. And before we ever even consider them, they go through a vetting process.
Cool.
I've got several questions. One about the businesses themselves. You vet them. Does that include looking for the up-and-comers or the more stable ones? Or how do you assess them in terms of the potential earnings for the person who wants to get into that franchise?
Well, that's a darn good question. Rich and I were actually talking about this earlier, about Orlando and some of the clients that I've had. Some clients want a stable business, something that's been around. And an example that we talked about was Great Clips. I've matched clients to Great Clips and have a client that's opened his own Great Clips. We know that Great Clips is, as long as you've got a good location, it's a sound business and it's probably going to be successful. Great Clips is over $1 billion in revenue a year now. But then Rich and I also talked about the gentleman here in Orlando that opened the first Panera Bread. At the time, Panera Bread was not very well known, and he made the decision to open one here and to open, actually, I think he got the rights to open several, and you know how Panera Bread is done.
Yeah, where are they out of? I forgot.
I'm not sure where they're out of, but they are. They are. They're listed on the wall on Wall Street.
Yeah, I take it he did very well for himself.
He has. And let me tell you about that guy now this is information that's been shared with me, but the gentleman opened one of the first Great Clips in Orlando, now owns 29 Great Clips.
Oh, my goodness.
So you can see, you take that little bit of risk, and as you mentioned, Chris, some franchises have been around. For example, if you had the opportunity to open a McDonald's in a city that doesn't have one, you're probably going to be successful.
Yeah, good luck finding a city that doesn't have one, though.
Right.
McDonald's, I believe, sort of saturated the market. I believe a number of years ago, this was probably back in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, they had been on a building binge here in the United States, and they discovered that every time they built a new McDonald's, that it just took business from other McDonald's in the area. They were so close together, and the markets were so saturated. So then they focused on international growth. And but a franchise can be, too big, so to speak, sometimes.
Well, the same thing happened with Curves. And it's all in their contract. How far away can the next Curves be?
Sure.
Or the next
What's
McDonald's. A Curves, the exercise place.
A ladies' fitness center.
Oh, okay.
Right. Curves, you don't remember Curves?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
And let's go back.
I've been missing out.
He must be old.
Let's go back right quick to McDonald's. Even though there's several thousand locations of McDonald's here in the United States. We now have Five Guys. We have, Shake Shack.
Oh, yeah.
We have new burger places coming, Wi-Fi burger. So even though a market has a lot of different hamburger restaurants, new franchises come online all the time.
Okay. And Tim Loftin is the man you need to talk to if you want to get a franchise, thinking about it. FranNet.com. That's with 2 N's, FranNet.com. What's your phone number, Tim?
Just give me a call on my mobile number, 407-415-5363, and I answer my own phone. I'd love to speak with anybody that has an interest in business ownership.
Hey, how much does this cost?
Well, that's a good question, Rich. Well, franchises have a cost that you pay for them, but my services are free to my clients. I don't charge
the big F word.
I don't charge them anything, just like Score.
There
That's
you
exactly
go.
right.
And I take it that the franchise organization pays you for selling their franchise, evidently.
I get a referral fee if someone decides to buy a franchise, but let me just add, there are many people that I work with, clients, that I tell them they need to go back into corporate America or not start a business. It's not for everyone.
We'll get to that in the next segment as we talk about how you match people up with particular franchises, because it would be my impression that I walk in and say, hey, I want a hamburger franchise, and you find me one. And what you're saying is I might not be the guy to run a hamburger franchise. I might be the guy to run a different franchise, and we'll talk about how you determine that in the next segment of the show. But once again, don't forget Score's got a lot of great events going on all the time. Biz Fest is coming up. If you want to get in on the Pitch Fest, you need to get those applications in. The deadline, and they're accepting them now at scoreorlando.org. But the deadline for the applications for the Pitch Fest is the day after Tax Day, which is April the 16th.
Yeah.
And Biz Fest is May the 19th. Put that on your calendar. We will be there doing a live remote broadcast of the American Adversaries radio show, and we'll be there all day long at the Biz Fest. And we'd just love you to come on out and say hello and say, hey, we heard you on the radio.
Okay, hey, I got a question for you two business people.
All right. You give us a question now, but we'll have to answer it. We'll have to answer it after this.
All right.
Okay.
Where do cell phones fit in, and how can they make or break a sale?
All right. We'll talk about that, too, when we come back. And don't forget, folks, you are listening to What's the Score, the show designed to help you come up with that winning combination for your business. And find out all about Score at scoreorlando.org. That's for the local Score office. Of course, it's a national organization, so you can go to their national website, score.org. That's simply score.org. And you get a lot more in the detailed, in-depth documents that you might need for your business. Don't forget, we'll be right back, so please stay with us. Okay, welcome back to What's the Score? Once again, we want to thank you for being with us, and thank you folks who've been telling your friends and family about us. We really appreciate that. As the show's popularity grows, we really appreciate that. And all you new listeners out there, we hope you like the show, and you'll spread the word about us, too. And I am Christopher Hart, along with Rich Jaeckle. We're joined in the studio today by Tim Loftin. He's with an organization called FranNet. That's with 2 N's. FranNet.com is where you can find out more about them, all about franchises. If you think you want to get in business for yourself, but you don't particularly have a new gadget or the better mousetrap, franchise might be the way to go for you. And if you have some, particularly, I would suspect if you have some management skills. But first of all, I guess we got to answer Rich's question. How does the cell phone fit in?
Let me work into this thing here.
Okay, you got a plan in your mind.
Yes,
okay,
I do. All right.
He's got a plan.
First thing I'm going to ask you guys is if one synchronized swimmer drowns, do the rest of them drown too?
They all go down together, I guess.
They should be in sync. They got to go.
Yeah.
All right. What does a cell phone have to do with business? Is it positive or negative? And what are the positive things that everybody is guilty of?
The positive things that everybody
the negative things that everybody is guilty of. Everybody.
Well, a cell phone.
Yeah, a cell phone is a big part of business, right?
Well, it can be.
Okay.
And it can also, I suppose, be a distraction.
This is part of my rant today, by the way, because I've heard too many businesses doing this stuff.
One thing is, if you have a smartphone, is you're available all the time.
Right.
That's the pro. The con is you're available all the time.
Christopher?
To me, it's the cell phone is my business. So it's my line of communication with the outside world, so to speak. And except for when I'm face to face with someone, it's my main source of information and communication.
You are very close, my friend.
Okay.
I'm talking to a client face to face. Now, you know how I feel about this IT stuff and technology interfering with face to face.
Sure.
Right? Okay. I'm talking to a client face to face. My cell phone rings. Do I take the call or do I not take the call?
You don't take the call. The person you're talking to face, that's priority.
Okay.
And, I normally just have my phone on the vibrate.
Yeah.
When I'm talking with a client. But if it happens to go off and it's not, I just push the button to silence the ringer.
And the way I handle that is on an iPhone, there is now a little message. You can send a message back to the caller that says, I'm not available right now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, and if they call you back again, you know that it must be an emergency situation. And any client would forgive you for taking an emergency call.
Okay. Yeah. How many clients out there, how many businesses have you seen that will stop talking to you and take the call?
Too many.
That's rude. It's rude out there, guys. You can't do that. When you're talking face-to-face, that's a relationship. When you're talking on the phone, that's mechanical. Get the relationship first and then get the mechanical.
So are you saying that there are rules for smartphones?
I'm saying I have my own rules, and they broke it. So when I saw it, and here's the worst one that really got me started, was a lady, I'm not going to mention the gender, but there was a person in line at an ATM machine. There were 4 people behind her. She got up to the ATM, the gender got up to the ATM machine and got a phone call and started chit-chatting while there were 4 people in line behind. Right. Now, what do you think the business people would think about that?
Well, obviously it would slow down the process of processing the transaction. So it
would aggravate the holy heck out of you guys. Sure. You know that.
Sure.
So all you small businesses out there, it's so convenient to use your cell phone, but don't. Use the people connection, not the cell phone connection.
Rich, can we count on you to put together a list of Rich's cell phone etiquette?
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Yeah. I think it'll make $1 million.
I'm sure it will.
All right. Thank you for allowing me my rant.
Okay. All right. Speaking of rants, different people have different talents. And although we all might have similar dreams, we don't all necessarily have the talents to pursue the same dreams. Getting into a franchise, I was not surprised, but interested to know that you look to match a person up with a particular type of business based on personality traits. Is that correct?
Personality, behavior, management skills, transferable skills they have from their prior business life.
Money.
How many hours do they want to work a day? Do they want?
When you say money, do you mean money that they're bringing to the table or money that they intend to get out of this, or both?
Both. It'd be what are their income expectations and how much money do they want to spend. Generally, if you're going to start a new franchise business, you need about 25% to 30% seed money, and then you can get a loan for the balance of the investment.
And what would be, obviously, the franchises are going to be a price range. They're not all the same price. What is the price range of your 100 and some odd franchises? What's the cheapest one? What's the most expensive one?
The cheapest one is about $40,000.
So someone would need about $10,000 to start up?
Right.
Okay.
Really? That's not bad.
And there are ways to get a 100% unsecured loan. You'd pay a little bit more interest that way, and it's a riskier to borrow the entire amount.
What is that franchise for $40,000?
I have an art franchise and actually have a client here in Orlando that started the first Young Rembrandts in Seminole County.
Oh, my God. That's one of my clients.
Is it really?
Yeah.
EJ?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Isn't that amazing?
See, we partner all the time.
Yeah, how about that?
Small world
I
after
think
all.
I sent him to you.
So, I was going to say, yes. EJ either knows his stuff because he's working with SCORE, or the SCORE was in, anyway. What's the most expensive one?
Well, we have an educational franchise that's $800,000 plus. So if you opened 3 of those, it'd be almost $2.5 million. And it just varies. One of the things that comes into play, Chris, is how many locations do you want to open? And I have a story about that today on one of my clients who is going to pretty much close down Orlando for one of the new franchises come into town.
In other words, he'll own all of the rights to any franchise of that particular business in this town.
You can do that, yes.
Okay. How do you determine how people, their psychological quirks, behavior, and all that other stuff that you listed? How do you do that?
He'd have a heck of a job with me, wouldn't he?
Be an endless one, that's for sure.
We actually have an online assessment. We call it our personal franchise assessment, and it's based on testing, psychometric testing. We use Myers-Briggs and some other personality testing. It has questions, and I get back a report that I share with my clients, and it tells me a lot about them. It has some financial issues. It has some questions about who they are, what they want. But then I find out what their behaviors are, what their management style is, and a lot of other things. It helps me to do a deep dive into our inventory based on that individual or couple or investor, their financial needs, their lifestyle needs. For example, everybody doesn't want to work 7 days a week. They may want a Monday to Friday gig, and I have franchises that fit that. But if somebody wants to be in the restaurant business, I can put them in a restaurant business where they can work 7 days a week. So it just depends on the individual, and then you get into money. So there are a lot of factors that go into picking the right franchise for them.
How about that?
And I would suggest that going to you is probably a much better option than like these franchise fairs that come around every so often, where you can go like in an exhibit hall and they're just lined up. They got the health drinks, but there's no guarantee. There's no due diligence done on those, is there?
You wonder about that when you go in there. Is it really a viable franchise? There are good businesses at those franchise fairs. But we know we've done the due diligence process on the ones in our inventory. We know they're good businesses.
Yeah. Well, you do multiple franchises. They're out there to sell themselves.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Typically.
They're trying to sell just their business.
Right. So they don't have the objectivity nor the judgment to say, here, this fits you better.
Exactly.
They just say, here, you need this.
And as I mentioned before, when I'm sitting down with a client, I've had clients that I've said, franchising is not right for you.
I like that.
We mentioned the fact that my services are no cost to my clients. If they buy a franchise, they don't pay any more for it. So the value that I bring to the table helps them. I have resources that they would never know about that helps them, whether it's legal, whether it's accounting, other business services, insurance that can help them as they open their business.
So you're a value-added service.
I like to think that.
Yeah.
Depending on who you ask.
Right.
And FranNet.com is the website. I take it they can see the menu of your 100 and some odd franchises there?
Actually, they have to get into our process for us to share that information because we have competitors out there who would like to know who's in our inventory.
In your stable?
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
All right, FranNet.com, and Tim's phone number is 407-415-5363, 407-415-5363. And as he said, he answers his own phone, unless he's in a face-to-face meeting with Rich, in which you dare not answer that doggone thing.
Hey, I'd like to take a minute to wish everybody a happy Easter tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
yes.
Well,
happy
this weekend is Easter weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
So we wish everybody a happy Easter.
Right.
So we definitely hope everybody is celebrating and had a great Passover as well, Passover holiday. Once again, we're coming up on the break. Just want to remind you folks, if you would like to have your own radio show or find out about how affordable it is to advertise on the radio, then you need to call Bill Files here at Salem Media Group Orlando at 407-618-1760. He's the station manager here. He'd love to give you a tour around the station and see if radio is the way for you to reach customers that you want to reach. Got 4 stations here now, so we can reach into a lot of different markets and customize your message for you and your market. That's Bill Files at 407-618-1760. He's the station manager here for Salem Media Group Orlando. Once again, you are listening to What's the Score? This show is being provided as a public service by Salem Media Group. We certainly thank them for that. And, of course, Score is available to you as a public service thanks to Score. And all you need to do is take advantage of it. Give them a call at 407-420-4844. That's Score Orlando, 407-420-4844, scoreorlando.org. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Tim Loftin of FranNet, FranNet.com, and we'll talk to him a little bit more about franchising and something he's calling Allie's Hope, and we'll find out more about that. Don't forget the Biz Fest. Put it on your calendar. Circle May 19th. We certainly want to see you there. We'll be right back. Welcome back to What's the Score? Once again, we want to thank you folks for being with us. That's right, you are listening to the show designed to help you come up with that winning combination for your business. I am Christopher Hart, joined by Bill, and today we have Tim Loftin of FranNet in the studio with us as well. And he's your franchise guy. And so if you want to get into franchise business for yourself, he's the man you need to talk to. And Rich, I see you nodding your head.
Yes, I am. Tim, since you're in franchises and stuff, what was the best thing before sliced bread?
Wow, the best thing before sliced bread. I have no idea, but I would like to know.
Okay,
can you
do a little research on that, would you please?
I will.
We might be able to start another franchise.
All right. Okay. You said you had a couple of case studies there, some recent folks that you dealt with. Kind of tell us what happened. Sort of walk us through the process. Say I'm one of these guys. I want to get into the franchise business. So what happens? What happens?
Okay, so let me give you the story of Carl, who lives in the Villages. And Carl had moved down to Florida he was from up in the Northern Territory. And Carl actually invested in a business in the Villages area, but he ended up selling that, exiting, and thought he was going to retire. Well, after
he just bought a business when he came down here. So
started a furniture business.
He started, okay.
And decided to exit that business and thought he might retire. I believe he's like 60 years old. And
young man.
A young man, yeah.
I think.
About my age.
Oh, you young pup.
Well, anyway, Carl, after spending a little time at home, decided retirement was not for him. And so he went on to the internet and found me and made contact with me, and then we started our process. So I talked with Carl, got a good background on what he had done in the past, and then asked him to complete our personal franchise assessment, which is online. He did that. I received our report back, and then I scheduled a meeting with Carl in the Villages. I drove up there. Have you been to the Villages? That's an unbelievable place.
Not recently, but I know it's growing by leaps and bounds constantly, yeah.
And there's a lot of opportunity for franchise businesses there. But anyway, I sat down with Carl, and I gave him 4 or 5 recommendations for businesses that I thought he should consider. And Carl quickly picked out one of them. Now, usually my clients will say, I'm interested in a couple of these or 3 of these. Mm-hmm. Carl said, I'm interested only in this one. And so I can tell you that now that Carl is the proud owner of the first Molly Maid franchise in the Villages. There's never been a Molly Maid there. It's one of the companies that we represent. And he is now taking that a little step further. His employees that go out to clean houses in the Villages drive around in golf carts.
That's awesome.
Everybody has a golf cart.
You got the pink logos and everything on it?
Everybody has a golf cart there. And, you think a 60-year-old, they're going to retire and they're not going to do anything. Carl now has the first Molly Maid in the Villages, and he will open that and grow that, and it will be a valuable resource for the individuals that live there.
Okay, awesome. Let me make a point here. Carl, I take it, doesn't go out and clean houses.
No.
Okay, so to own a franchise doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be behind the line. Exactly, hands-on. It means that this is going to be more owner-manager type relationship, is it not?
That's right. Now, we'll say this. Carl went to the Molly Maid School. We talked about schools before for franchising. He went to the Molly Maid School. I believe it's in Detroit area. Mm-hmm. He learned how to clean houses. Right. But he's going to now train his employees and manage and supervise his employees to make sure that they clean the Molly Maid way.
Yeah, and that's what McDonald's does at McDonald's or Hamburger U, I think they call it.
You're kidding me. They actually have a system?
Yes, they do.
They teach all their people?
Well, that's the part of what makes franchises the successful one successful, is it not?
I thought it was just the brand.
No.
That's the big part of it. Not only do you get the brand and the trademark, the ability to use their marketing programs, you get their products and services and how they train you on how to provide that service or product to your customers. So that's the beauty.
Well, that's the beauty of it. It makes it easier for you, but they want it done a certain way. Like a McDonald's restaurant, they don't want you going to a McDonald's in Detroit and getting sloppy service. Exactly. Going to a McDonald's in Atlanta and getting great service. They want you to get great service everywhere. And so they show the franchisees, here's how it is done. We are not suggesting that this is the way you should do it. Here's how it is done. And that way it makes it easier for you because the system has already been worked out.
That goes way against my grain. I started 25 offices across the U.S. Each city had its own personality, each and every city. And we were in the people business, so we had to learn the personality of that city. So what we did was say, here is how we did it in Virginia Beach and Atlanta and some of the other places. Now, you take this, and you operate it your own way, but adhering to the way that we started, and that fits your city.
Well, I will say this, and Chris mentioned McDonald's. If you go into McDonald's in Phoenix, Atlanta, and Detroit, the Quarter Pounder is going to be the same in all three places. And if you go into Frankfurt, Germany, the Quarter Pounder there is going to be the same, although they do have some changes in products.
Well, and they have customized into certain, especially when you go into foreign markets, they are sensitive to local customs.
That's what I'm saying. They can't just.
But nonetheless, they teach those franchisees, this is how it's done in your market. They don't want a lot of deviation. Believe me. If you, and this I think would be one of the people that you would say a franchise is not for you, is somebody who wants to do it his way or her way and is going to do it that way. That's probably, a franchise is probably not the wisest way to go. Our
personal franchise assessment actually measures compliance. Is this individual going to be able to comply with the rules of the franchise? And if they have a low score on that, then I will direct them to a non-franchise business or to buy a business so that they have more latitude. Now, I wondered if it's okay. I wanted to give you. If you're a control freak, a franchise may not be for you. That's right.
Well, why can't you change the basics a little bit to adhere to the local area?
You have a higher chance to fail if you change the workflows, processes, and the product.
No, not that.
Well, there may be some latitude. That's where the local franchise is going to talk to the franchisor.
Yeah, like if I want a soy burger over in China rather than a hamburger.
Well, like I say, in markets like that, the likelihood that you will find those type things.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
At least in the major franchises like McDonald's, KFC, and the others.
The franchisors do listen to their franchisees, and even McDonald's changes.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Ray Kroc was asked, I believe in the early 70s, when they became the biggest hamburger business in the world, what will McDonald's be selling in the year 2000? Right. And Ray Kroc said, I don't know. He said, but we'll be selling more of it than anybody else in the world. I know that. And he was
right. Salesman.
He was right. And it came to chicken and beef and potatoes. They sell more than anybody else in the world. So tell us now, Carl, so it worked out great for Carl?
Carl has just now started his Molly Maid. He went to the training in January, so he's kicked it off, and I need to follow up with him, see how he's doing. But Molly Maid will succeed more than likely in the villages. I do have a second case study I just want to mention briefly, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
One of my clients, Anna, her husband was in the electrical business, and she worked in his business and saw how successful it was, and she got the thought, I can run my own business. So she's actually a member of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They're their company.
Yeah, that's at the Entrepreneur Center.
They're at the Entrepreneur Center, and I was at one of their leads groups, and she was referred to me, and I got her interested in a fitness program called Yoga Fit. And Anna,
have you heard of that? Wait.
No, that's a new
Yoga Fit.
Yeah, this is a new concept. And Anna bought the rights to open the first 3 Yoga Fits in Orlando, in Florida. There are not any in Florida. So you talked about risk. What about a new business? Well, she took the opportunity to open the first 3 Yoga Fits. And I just got message today that she is so happy with it that she just bought the rights for an additional 3 Yoga Fits in Orlando. So you're going to see Anna opening 6 Yoga Fits in Orlando. Now, there may be opportunities for others, but she already has locked down 6 locations in Orlando.
And that's fantastic because I presume that she's going to have several employees at each of these locations.
Yes.
So not only is she doing something for herself, but she's providing jobs for the community.
And wait a minute. How do they know that those yoga fits are going to fit, so to speak, in Orlando? How do they even, do you guys do assessments, or how do you judge this is a good franchise to open in Orlando?
Well,
or is that up to the client?
They discussed that in the due diligence process, but it is a client decision. Is this the right fit for me? Am I willing to try this business? Am I willing to open this business? There's a long due diligence process, Rich, and I stay with the client through the whole process until they ultimately make the decision. But she made the decision on 3 last year. She's so excited she just bought the rights to 3 more.
How about that?
And the only way you'll really know for sure is to do it. I mean, that's the thing
but
about...
that's a lot of skin to lay down on the table if you don't even know there's a market there.
That's what...
And what we teach our clients is define your market, where they are, and who's going to buy the yoga fit. And if Chris and I haven't even heard of this...
Ships that stay in port never go to the open seas.
Oh, my God. Now we're waxing philosophic here.
You get it all here on What's the Score, folks.
I bow to my senior.
All right. We'll get it all here on What's the Score. That's for sure. Allie's Hope. What is Allie's Hope?
Well, one of the things, my business, I want to give back to the community. And one of my friends asked me to get involved with the board of directors for Allie's Hope. And one of the ways I can help the community is working with Allie's Hope. It's a foundation. It's a 501c3. They support programs for young adults with mental illness. And Allie's Hope is going to have a charity golf classic on May the 4th at Heathrow Country Club. And I'm providing some support in person and financial support. And if other businesses are interested in giving back to the community, Allie's Hope would be a great way to do that. Businesses should look for opportunities to give back to the community. That's kind of paying back for the success you have.
And
nice thought.
May the 4th is the date of the tournament at Heathrow. And what is the how do people get registered?
They can go online and we have a website. It's Allie's Hope. The website is
you spell it ALIS HopeFoundation.org. Is that the one?
That's it.
Okay. Allie is in the girl, but who's the girl?
Allie was a young lady. This whole thing is to...
I tell you what, why don't we continue this after the break? We got to go ahead and take the break. Afterwards, you can tell us more about Allie. But AlliesHopeFoundation.org is where you go to register for the golf tournament and make a donation if you would like to. Allie's, spelled ALIS, HopeFoundation.org. That's AlliesHopeFoundation.org. When we come back, we'll be talking more about Allie's Hope Foundation with Tim Loftin. And don't forget, folks, you are listening to What's the Score? We'll be right back after this short break. All right, welcome back once again to What's the Score, folks. And once again, this is Easter weekend. So as Rich said earlier, we do want to wish all of our listeners out there a very, very happy Easter and hope you had a great Passover as well. And
well phrased there, Christopher.
Thank you. We're talking with Tim Loftin of FranNet, FranNet.com. If you're interested in a franchise, he's the man you need to talk to first and foremost. And if you've never been in business before, you need to go through SCORE as well as you go through this whole process. You need both sides of the equation, both sides of the scale, so to speak, to balance things out.
Yeah, we were talking about this young Rembrandt's what do you call it? Franchise. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, this is all about franchises today. Yeah. So we were talking about young Rembrandt's. His name is E.J. Hunt or E.J. Burt. E.J. Burt. You know him, Chris. He's the football player I brought to the last NFL meeting.
Yeah, EJ.
He played for the Predators for years, 5 years.
Big guy. He's taller than me.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
And the funny thing about it is, if you sat down with EJ, you would think, art? Well, so when I did the assessment with EJ is an art teacher. He has an art major from college, and he's great with art.
Yeah, he looks like he'd eat the posters.
He could, but I don't think he does. But anyway, he would have never thought about an art franchise. It was a low-cost franchise, easy for him to get into, and I think he's probably going to end up opening another business.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
that was a
fantastic.
perfect business for him.
Yeah, we didn't know each other. Okay.
So
anyway,
you may
sorry.
not know, what the best business for you is, but if you think you'd like to have a franchise, just take an open mind and go over and talk to Tim. Allie's Hope, though, you were telling us that it's a foundation that a charitable foundation that supports mentally ill children. Again, you said, I think.
Well, it's a foundation that has programs for young adults with mental illness. And I remember back in my days of being a teenager, it's kind of tough. Well, Allie actually was the daughter of Joseph and Helen Gallagher. Okay. Joe Gallagher has Gallagher Wealth Management here in the Longwood area. And Joe and Helen, their daughter, Allie, had suffered from a brain disorder called schizoaffective disorder and ended up taking her life.
Oh.
So they started this foundation, and they raised funds to help assist with programs to help young adults that may have mental issues, depression. There's a variety of different things. And the funds all go to local charities. One of the charities is the Sharing Center, and another one is a mental health center that helps kids. Some of the sponsors are the Danish family, Tannehill, Dean Hauser, the Gallagher Group, Veritas, Flip 2, and Shock Idea Group. And as I indicated, one of the things I'd like to do is give back to the community. So I'm serving on the board, and actually I'm going to be a sponsor in the golf tournament. So it's a great business. I mean, a great foundation that helps with problems in our local area.
And, of course, mental illness touches a lot of our lives. Pretty much everybody's family at some point has probably had to deal with it. And certainly when, it's teenagers and young people who are going through this and they end up doing something so permanent, such as taking their lives, it is terribly, terribly tragic. And so this is a great organization. And AliceHopeFoundation.org is the website, ALIS, AliceHopeFoundation.org. If you want to get involved in a golf tournament, you can get involved, of course, as a player and sponsor, or just a sponsor, or just a player. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be May the 4th, and actually it's going to be a lunch and afternoon round of golf at Heathrow. And so you need to go ahead and get registered for that. Get yourself a team together and go over there and participate in this. And if you can't do that, don't want to do that, you can, of course, go to their website and make a contribution. And they are located here in Altamont Springs, Florida. And I did not know that about Joe Gallagher, but that's a tragic situation. Yeah.
You never know what's going on in people's lives, and with kids, it's nice to be able to provide some kind of resources if they're going through depression or whatever. So that's a great way to give back to the community.
It is. It's great. Let's get back to small business. You got something coming up that pertains to small business, particularly.
We do. Just prior to the SCORE BizFest, which is, I believe, on May the 19th, right?
Right.
Okay, so there actually is a webinar that we are hosting along with Express Professionals. It's called Entrepreneur Revolution, and it's going to be online. And I don't know if you've heard of the gentleman. His name is Damian John. He's on the Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah, Damian John. Yeah, Damian. Yeah.
Damian John is actually going to host this. It's, like I say, it's a webinar. We are a sponsor. You can sign up. And if anyone is interested, you can look online for Entrepreneur Revolution or drop me a note at my email address is tloftin, TLOFTIN, at FranNet.com. And I'll be glad to send them a link so that they can sign up for this Entrepreneur Revolution. Damian John's going to host it, and is talking about innovating businesses. It's talking about starting businesses from scratch, using a franchise business. So it's a wealth of opportunity for people that might want to go into their own business.
When is it again?
So May the 14th at 6 p.m. So you'll be able to
6 p.m.
6 p.m. So you'll be able to go home, get online with your computer, and be a participant in this national event. This is going to be all over the U.S. So it's a great event, and Damian John is quite the entrepreneur.
And once again, you just drop Tim a line, and he'll get you hooked up. That's at Loftin, LOFTIN, at FranNet.com. That's FranNet with 2 N's.
You guys are sponsoring it, right?
Yes, we are, and with Express Professionals, and that is a franchise that is available in the Volusia County area, sold out in Orlando. and I'd love to introduce anybody that's interested to Express Professionals. It's a staffing business. And, with the Affordable Care Act, staffing businesses, they have more opportunity to provide staffing for small, medium, and large businesses.
Yeah, that was my business for 25 years.
Was it? That's a great bit. Did you feel like that was a good business to be in?
Yes, sir, I did. I rode the wave.
Especially with the government that keeps handing out more and more red tape.
The government wasn't handing out money at that time. Ours was all commercial.
Red tape. Handing out red tape that people have to hire people to fill out the red tape.
Yeah, look
this is what I'm talking about.
I still got it glued to me.
Yeah, for real. Is FranNet, is that a national organization or is that just your local business here?
Well, I have Central Florida and Tampa Bay. I work that area, but it is an international franchise consulting firm. International. We are located in the U.S. We have about 100 consultants. We're in Canada. I even have we have consultants in Germany that there are American franchises, U.S. franchises that want to grow in Germany and all over Europe. So, and I actually work with one of the resources that I have is I work with people that want to come to the U.S. on a L2 or E5 visa.
Right. Yeah.
So they want to come to the U.S. and open a business. I've helped people from Venezuela, Brazil, Egypt. So I work with international people that want to come to America and open their own business.
Okay, I have a question about this.
By the way, these particular visas mean that they have to bring money to the table to develop businesses in the United States.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, now I just taught a class last night on starting your new business, and there were 2 Brazilians in there that have a nightclub. Disco Go-Go, and it's a 50s theme. Okay, right. And they're going to do the same thing here in Orlando. And they want to do an S corporation, but the S corporation will not allow foreign owners. The S corporation, they've got the visa you're talking about.
Are they going to have to do an LLC?
That's it. So they cannot do the S because it will not allow foreign investors and owners. They're going to do the LLC.
One last quick question because we're running out of time. Again, Tim, we're going to probably have to have you back for the third time, but do you suggest or do you help people set up their own corporations aside from their agreement with the franchise? In other words, say I come in there as Chris Hart. Would you say, okay, Chris, you want to buy this franchise? Let's set this corporation up for you, and you do business that way. Is that how you do it?
Well, I work with several attorneys in Orlando and many accounting firms. Actually, if you go to my microsite, I have resources listed on there, which includes attorneys and accountants. And generally, they will help people with setting up their business organization.
Or Score.
Or Score. You have
for free. We'll do it for free.
Mentors at Score will help you for free set up your own business organization. And actually provide a recommendation because an S Corp is not for everyone.
No.
An LLC is not for everyone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Those things are all custom fit type things.
Speaking of that, what are you?
LLC.
LLC.
Yeah. All right.
And I'm an S Corp.
And you're an S Corp.
Yes.
Very good.
Well, actually, I have two. Yeah, I'm an LLC and an S Corp.
Man, you are a man of many hearts.
Of course, one's my radio business and the other's my carpentry business.
Now, here's one point. If you use funds, I think I mentioned on the prior show that if you use funds from your 401k and roll them into your business, a self-directed IRA that actually buys the stock of your business.
Yep.
So you can use funds from your 401k to buy your franchise business to fund it.
And it becomes legal 401k retirement.
It becomes your business retirement plan.
Is that just the 401k or does that hold for other retirement plans?
Other IRAs as well. You can roll into a self-directed IRA for the business. However, if it's a 401k, you have to set up a C Corp, which you could later change, I think, but that's why you need legal counsel or Score could help with that.
Absolutely. It only takes you 25 minutes to set up an S Corp.
Yes.
Yeah. So that little bit of advice, though, could save you a lot of money in terms of tax dollars.
It sure would.
All right. Once again, Tim Loftin, FranNet, FranNet.com. That's T Loftin at FranNet.com if you want to talk to him or email him, I should say. Loftin is his last name. T Loftin at FranNet.com. If you are considering getting into a business, but you don't have a great business idea, but you really think you want to do something like that, franchise might be the thing for you. If you certain you want to be in a franchise, this is the guy you need to be talking to, and to get into the right business for you.
Yeah, he's going to be at the BizFest too.
And I was going to say, are you going to be at the BizFest too?
I wouldn't miss it. That is a great opportunity to see businesses and new innovative ideas, because you have teams that are going to be presenting ideas to the audience,
That's right?
Yeah,
investors, etc.
Yep, and of course,
one last question before we go.
Pitch Fest. We got 30 seconds.
Okay. How do they get those deer to cross out at the yellow signs all the time?
Takes a lot of hard work and a lot of diehards. Okay. All right, folks, you've been listening to What's the Score? And don't forget the Biz Fest coming up May 19th. We certainly hope we'll see you there. And don't forget, that's free. It's a great networking opportunity. And if you want to get in on the Pitch Fest, go to scoreorlando.org.